So, the weather is nice today, isn't it?
It is a little cold. Be better.
Wait, we're recording? Yeah. Oh, okay.
No.
Hi, nice to meet everybody. Welcome to the first episode of Inside Emit. Today we got
Nathaniel.
And we will be asking him a array of questions. As y'all know, my name is Xavier Moore. I go to Fisk University. I am a social media managing intern here at Vanderbilt University, and it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. Same to you.
All right. So, what is your major, and where are you from originally?
So I'm originally from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So a little ways away, and I'm currently studying engineering. I'm studying radiation effects on space electronics. So like your satellites you have in space, they can be impacted by radiation from the sun, from just random particles from other stars, and that can damage your electronics.
Kind of like similar to like rust in a sense, almost like, or is it a little more heavy?
It's a little more that, like, typically there are three types of effects, and some of them last for a long time, but some of them can vanish on the order of like picoseconds or nanoseconds. But during that time, there can still be some damage done to like a signal that's passing through a wire, and that can lead to your satellite malfunctioning or giving you fake data. So we're focusing on making these satellites and these devices radiation hard, or just like not prone to radiation damage.
That's interesting. I do have a real good fascination on radiation. Ever since, if you played the game Fallout,
I have not. I know about it though.
Yeah, every time I love the whole idea of radiation, nuclear warfare, all that. But with that being said, like what age did you kind of discover that you wanted to go towards the engineering route?
So originally, I actually majored in physics and mathematics in college. And I got into physics around high school. I had a really good professor in physics in the high school level who just really inspired me to want to learn more about the world and how like things work. And then I only recently got into engineering at Vanderbilt. It kind of just happened to get into engineering. I had an advisor who interviewed me and said, you might have a better fit in engineering instead of physics. And so that's kind of where I ended up here. And I've learned so many new things with engineering, just like how things actually work at like a device level, like how your phone works, how computers work, satellites, and just that has kind of evolved into this love for wanting to learn radiation effects, space, how those things can impact our devices.
Yeah, I can definitely I can relate in a way. My teacher, he was really good at like business, and he owned a business outside of also teaching, and he would sell like electronics and stuff, computers, phones, and all. And that made me want to go towards the business administration realm. And ever since then, like, I haven't looked back. Ever since he taught me everything he knew, I just kept on going. But with that being the case, what made you choose Vanderbilt?
So it's a funny story for Vanderbilt. So I actually was exposed to Vanderbilt in my undergrad years. I actually had a research experience for undergraduates at Vanderbilt during my junior year the summer. And that's when I actually started studying radiation effects, actually. So I was with Socrates in the physics department. We were studying how radiation from space can affect the properties of a specific kind of semiconductor. And that was my first real experience to radiation in space in things at the atomic level. And it was an amazing experience at Vanderbilt. And that kind of made me think, yeah, I want to go to this school for a PhD. And I had already thought about getting a PhD in physics, but it was at that point that I realized Vanderbilt is probably the place I would want to go because they have a lot of this foundational work done in engineering and radiation effects. And already having a foot in the door was very helpful to wanting to know that I want to go here.
No, I definitely have. Just even working here as an intern kind of made me really want to go here for my master's.
Exactly.
To get my MBA here. And so hopefully, we'll see how things work out in the future. But I'm going to put it out there. I think I will be going to Vanderbilt University for my MBA. But with that being the case, I think, what have you taken in from this program? What has been the most impactful to you? And what do you love the most about it?
So I came into Emit with a very shallow knowledge of astrophysics. Even though I did physics as an undergrad, I mainly focused on like experimental, like solid state physics.
Okay.
And so one thing I've taken out of Emit is just hearing about all these different projects focused on astrophysics and just learning about the concepts. has been very helpful for me because I am studying radiation effects for satellites, and that can include like sensors that need to sense like neutrons or like X-rays or radio waves from different stars or other planets. And like it's important for me to understand not just my picture and what I'm doing with just like the device level, but also like what like projects I can contribute to. What's the big picture here in like astrophysics? Like what am I contributing to on satellites? And so that's what Emit has given me largely. It's also been great having the multiple connections and people talking to them. Like it's always helpful to talk to people that are not in your actual field of study, because telling people something who like don't have this foundational knowledge can really be helpful, because it teaches you how to actually like portray your research, and it teaches me more about my research, actually being able to talk about it, see what things are difficult for people to understand, how can I make that better, and so on. So that's been very helpful.
Yeah, I definitely learned that when you ask people from a different like realm of studies, and they can sometimes even give you answers that you didn't even think about, because you're too focused on thinking about the, like, okay, I know this, and this, but what am I missing?
Having other people and bouncing back ideas, you can just get random things happening, random spurs of inspiration to go on different projects.
Yeah, definitely. And with that being like the thing is, so like 5 years from now, where do you see yourself? Like, what career do you want to be at? What do you want to do with the degree that you're about to get, the master, PhD that you're about to get, and afterwards?
Yeah, it's a interesting question. I had thought about it a lot. Like, I knew I wanted to get a PhD, and then now that I'm actually in the program, like I need to think about what I want to do afterwards. And I think I want to teach, but I do not want to teach at like a university level where I do research and teach at the same time. I think I'd rather want to just strictly teach, be a teaching professor at either a university or community college level, and maybe at a high school level. I'm not really sure yet, but I want to do a lot of outreach events, trying to see what level of teaching I want to do. But I think teaching is what I want to do in the future. I think I just have a passion for wanting to see other people learn things, and just seeing that like spark of inspiration that you can give someone is like very motivating for me, and that's what I want to do.
Yeah, definitely. I understand. And we need a lot of teachers who are more willing to actually work with students and kind of like show them, not just even just like show them what's in a book, to show them what's out there. Like for me, if I get to that stage where I'm teaching kids about business and how to actually get their own business and what to do, like I want to actually show them the process and show them like what the results can be, instead of just, okay, in this book it says here on chapter 10 that we got to do this and that to have a business that's this successful.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these greats that you know of, like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, anybody. I'm a real big supporter on Microsoft. You learn that it took them ages to get to where they are now. But with that being the case, let me ask you some things. What are your hobbies?
So I do a bunch of things. My main hobby is Magic the Gathering. I play the card game at a competitive level. So I try to go to tournaments every like once or twice a week and compete for prize money. And so that's my main hobby that I do. I'm also a big just board game person. I like going to board game cafes all the time, playing board games with friends.
You ever been to Elliston's?
Elliston's, I have.
Yeah, they have some pretty fun game nights. I think it's like every Wednesday or every Friday. I forget.
I think so.
Yeah, I love it there. I love going there for the game nights too. And I just got into Magic the Gathering.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah. You got someone else too? Yeah. I've been
better talk afterwards.
Yeah, we definitely got to, because I would like to start getting into the competitive realm. I just don't know where to begin. But
it's a large hill to climb, but it's very fun. It's a very fun experience.
Yeah, I definitely want to try it out. For me, like hobbies, for me is more like gaming. I love playing video games. Anything. I just started getting into PlayStation.
Okay.
But I originally had an Xbox, so I grew up.
Transitioned to the PlayStation.
I will say that. Yeah, I will say I transitioned because I gave my Xbox to my brother. And then I was like, you know what? I just want something to play for the time being. Got myself a PlayStation.
Heck yeah.
And ever since, I was like, this ain't that bad, but I still prefer I think I still prefer Xbox. Microsoft. I'm just saying.
What's your game? What game are you playing right now?
So on my PlayStation, Remnant 2.
Okay.
There's a game. It's called. If you ever think about playing it, play Remnant 1.
Okay.
What is it? Remnant from the Ashes. It's a great game.
The Ashes. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then I got the other ones: Fallout, Skyrim. The classics.
Still waiting for the Elder Scrolls 6.
They 2020. Yeah, you're probably waiting until 2035.
Literally, I don't know when's gonna happen, but sometime.
Yeah, and going on to the next questions. Actually, is what shows from your childhood can you remember that were like your favorites?
I was a big SpongeBob person. Definitely, that's probably my go-to childhood show. I think. I didn't watch too many shows as a kid. Like, I guess Fairly Odd Parents is another one. I was a big Nickelodeon kid.
I was
when
too.
I was growing up.
I was a big Boomerang kid. Boomerang was that channel that no one watched.
Man,
it was like the old school, like Flintstones, the Jetsons. I used to love those type of shows, like the old school shows, like Popeye the Sailor Man. Man,
I just started watching One Piece, the anime.
Oh, you got a long.
I know. I'm on like episode 12 right now, and I'm liking it. There's a card game for One Piece that I got into.
Dragon Ball has one too.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm getting into the show now. I want to know all the characters. It might take me 2 to 3 years, but
well, you can make it really like a cool 4 or 5 months. You got to skip off fillers though.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
Because there's guides on YouTube where you can. But other than that, I believe that is all the questions we have. Thank you everybody for watching.
Thank you.
Inside Emit, and we can't wait to see you in the next episode.